This ADK project is made up of 2 specialist subagents. It follows a multi-agent architecture, and that's what we're going to learn how to build in this video. First, let's make a directory to put our project in. I'm going to call this subagents. Navigate into the directory, and then once here, use the Python venv module to create a virtual environment that we're going to call .venv. And then once that's created, activate the virtual environment, and then open this directory in your preferred IDE. You may need to reactivate your virtual environment once in VS Code. That's something I had to do here. And you can use which Python to check that the virtual environment is activated. Next, we need to pip install Google's ADK package. And then once installed, just create a new directory, and we're going to call this cat or dog assistant. And the name of this is important because it needs to match the name of our root agent exactly, as we've seen in other videos. Okay, now let's navigate into the cat or dog assistant directory, and then once there, create an init.py file, a .env file, and an agent.py file. In the .env file, we want to set Google Gen AI use Vertex AI to false, as this project is going to be run completely locally. And then we need to go and fetch Google API key, as this project will be using Gemini Flash in multiple agents. To get an API key, just go to aistudio.google.com. In the bottom left-hand corner, select Get API Key. Once there, in the top right-hand corner, select Create API Key. Then select an existing GCP project or create a new one. And then once you've done that, select Create API Key in existing project. And then once you have the API key, just paste it here to assign it to the environment variable Google API key. As usual, we want to put from this location import agent in our init.py file. Next, head to the agent.py file, and from google.adk.agents, we want to import the agent class. And as usual, we want to create a root agent, and we assign to that an agent with the name cat or dog assistant. And this is going to use the model Gemini 2.0 Flash, as that's adequate enough for this use case. For the description, we're going to say that this is the first agent that someone speaks to before being redirected to the cat assistant or the dog assistant. Okay, and we're going to leave that there for now, and then let's back out to the root directory. And then once there, we're going to run ADK web just to test if our root agent is working as expected. So ADK web should generate this address, which we can go to, which is the local host at port 8000. Okay, so first let's just say hello to the cat or dog assistant, just to make sure everything's working and that we get the expected behavior based on the description. Hi there, are you interested in cats or dogs today? Please can you redirect me to the cat assistant? Okay, connecting you to the cat assistant now. Please wait a moment. Can you please take my cat for a walk on the beach? And as you can see, our root agent is not equipped to answer this question. And in fact, the previous message, okay, connecting you to the cat assistant, is a hallucination, as our root agent doesn't have access to any sub-agents at this moment in time. So let's end the local server and let's start creating sub-agents for more specialist tasks that our root agent can hand over to when needed. So in our cat or dog assistant directory, we would like to create a sub-agents directory. And then within that, we'd like to create a cat assistant directory, also a dog assistant directory. Okay, so now we've created those directories. In the cat assistant directory, we just want to create an agent.py file. And we also want to create a tools.py file in the same directory. And then let's go into the agent.py file for the cat assistant. Again, we want to say from google.adk.agents import the agent class. So just like before, we're going to call this root agent. Why it's called root agent, I'm not sure, but this is what it is called in the ADK samples on GitHub, which are provided by Google. So I'm just following the convention that they have there. And root agent is going to be equal to a new agent with the name cat assistant agent. Just like before, this is going to use Gemini 2.0 Flash. For the description, we are going to say the cat assistant agent can help with tasks required to do for your cat. Okay, so we're going to leave the cat assistant agent for now and just go over to the tools.py file. And for these tools, we're going to need the datetime package. So from datetime, import datetime as DT. And then I'm just going to paste in both of these tool definitions. So the first one is empty litter tray, and this is just going to simulate an agent that can empty the cat's litter tray. So all this is doing is returning a dictionary where the value for action taken is that the litter tray has been emptied at and the time that it was emptied at. Just like in previous videos, we need a doc string because this is going to be used as a tool in ADK, and we also need to make sure that we are returning a dictionary with a descriptive key for what's being returned. And then we're also going to add another tool, which is order catnip. Something I should have added to the doc string here is the parameters, and that's because this tool is going to take the parameter quantity grams. We've just got a typo there. So quantity grams is an integer, and this is the quantity of catnip to be ordered in grams, and we just need to fix a typo there as well. Okay, and now we want to head back over to the cat assistant agent, and now from the tools file that's in this location, we can import the empty litter tray tool, and we can import the order catnip tool. And then if we just go to our agent definition, we can expose both the empty litter tray tool and the order catnip tool to our agent or sub-agent in this case. And then finally, we just want to add a detailed instruction that lets the agent know what tools it has available and how it should use them. So we're going to create a multi-line string here, as instructions can be quite long, and we're going to add the following. You are a cat assistant. You are able to help an owner with tasks related to cat ownership, and also you have access to the following tools. I've formatted this part here similar to how you would format YAML. The tools it has access to are empty litter tray and order catnip. And I've also just added here that this requires the amount of catnip to order in grams, and that's so our agent can prompt us for that amount if needed. And I'm just going to save that agent. I'm also missing a comma from the end of the instruction description. So now that's done, the next thing we need to do is go back to the command line, and then in the dog assistant directory this time, we want to create the tools.py file, and then also in the dog assistant directory, we want to create an agent.py file as well. So just like we did in the cat assistant directory, we want to create two files in the dog assistant directory too. Okay, so for the dog assistant sub-agent, again, it's from Google ADK.agents, import the agent class. We're going to call this root agent just like every other time. Root agent equals agent, and then the name of the agent this time is going to be dog assistant agent. And the model again is going to be Gemini 2.0 Flash, as that's adequate for this use case. And the description this time, we are going to say the dog assistant agent can help with tasks required to do for your dog. And then just like last time, we're going to leave the sub-agent there and head over to the tools.py file. Again, from datetime, import datetime as DT. And here we're just going to create two tools. So the first will be the take for walk tool, and that's going to take the parameter distance km. And this is a float, and this is the distance to be walked in kilometers. And this is going to return, again, the same format as the tools we gave to the cat assistant, which is action taken, and then a string describing what has happened and when it has happened. So the dog has walked for however many kilometers at whatever the current time is. We're also going to add refill water bowl, as this is the other thing that we can do for our dog. So this is going to simulate refilling a dog's water bowl, and again it produces this response: dog's water bowl refilled at and the time that it was refilled at. And now we've created those two tools, we head back over to the dog assistant agent. Just like before, from the tools file, we're going to import the take for walk tool and the refill water bowl tool. And then we're just going to add the tools parameter here and give our agent access to take for walk and refill water bowl. And now we have enough information to add a detailed instruction. Again, this is a multi-line string as instructions can be quite large. And here we're going to say you are a dog assistant. You're able to help an owner with tasks related to dog ownership. And just like with the cat assistant, you have access to the following tools: take for walk, with a description of the parameter that must be passed, and this will prompt the agent to ask you for this if you don't provide it. And then also the ability to refill the water bowl. And then we just add the comma to the end so that this is properly formatted. And just one last thing before we make use of these sub-agents, let's just create another init.py file in the sub-agents directory. So that should appear here. We're just going to do something now that will make importing our sub-agents easier. So we're going to say from cat assistant.agent import root agent, because remember, both of our sub-agents are assigned to this root agent variable, and that's not going to be very helpful when importing that into other Python scripts. So we're going to import this as the cat assistant agent, and then we're just going to do exactly the same, but for the dog assistant agent we're going to import the root agent again, but this time we're going to import this as the dog assistant agent. And just like with root underscore agent, this is the method used in Google's own sample ADK agents, which can be found on GitHub. And then finally, we're just going to use double underscore all double underscore and set that equal to the cat assistant agent, the dog assistant agent, like so. And that's just going to make importing these sub-agents into other files much easier. Okay, so now we want to return to our original agent.py file that contains our root agent, which is the cat or dog assistant. And now we can import from sub-agents the two sub-agents which we've just defined, which is the cat assistant agent and the dog assistant agent, like so. And then we can go back to our agent definition here, and we can say sub-agents are equal to, and then we just pass an array of sub-agents, so we can get the cat assistant agent from here, and then also the dog assistant agent from here. And now we have enough information to add an instruction to our agent. Again, this is going to be a multi-line string because instructions can be quite long. Now this agent is going to be the entry point for our application. So we want it to greet the user explaining you are here to provide assistance with either their cat or their dog. We want the agent to determine whether a user is asking for assistance with a cat or a dog and then redirect them to the appropriate agent. And we want our agent to know that it has access to the cat assistant agent and it has access to the dog assistant agent. And then we have this final line, which is an effective way to reduce hallucinations, which is please reiterate, you can only provide assistance for a dog or a cat if it is not clear which of the two pets they need assistance with. So if somebody asks for assistance with a parrot, we don't have access to a parrot assistant agent, and our agent shouldn't then try and answer that question. And then finally, let's add a comma at the end of our instruction. And now we should be able to run our agent, and it should be able to access the two sub-agents that we've just defined. So we test that again by running ADK web. And now that we've run ADK web, follow the link to the local host and port that this is running on. And let's just start by saying hello to check that this is working and check the expected behavior. Hi there, I'm here to help you with your dog or cat. Which one do you need assistance with today? So this is a good start. So I need help with my dog, please. Now if we go over to the events here to see what's happened, we started by talking to the cat or dog assistant, which is the entry point to our application. So then after determining which agent was the correct agent to transfer me to, I was then transferred to the dog assistant agent, as you can see in this diagram here. So let's see if the tools are working correctly. I would like you to walk my dog 2.5 kilometers, please. So we can see here that the tool take for walk has been called. So let's see if we can now be transferred to the other agent for assistance with our cat. I'd now like help with my cat, please. Okay, so now we've been transferred over to the cat assistant, and if we follow the events through, we can just check that this has happened. So we can see here the take for walk tool's being called, keep clicking through, and now we've been transferred to the cat assistant agent as expected. So what can you do for my cat? I can empty the litter tray or order catnip. Great, so our agent is now working as expected. So we've now successfully built an ADK agent that follows a multi-agent architecture which means that our agent has access to multiple subagents, each of which are specialists in different tasks for solving different problems. If you like the video, then please like, subscribe, and also check out the ADK example series playlist, which you'll be able to find on my channel. Thank you.